Hello students, welcome to DPS Siliguri online classes. My name is Jai Karmakar and I am your geography teacher. Today we will start chapter number 2, that is latitudes and longitudes. Today we will discuss about the introduction of the chapter, what is globe, what is axis of the earth, what is equator, what is prime meridian, definition of latitudes and its features. Now first tell me, how many of you are using Google Maps? Hope most of you are using this application. So when we enter a name of any particular place in Google Map, it gives us detailed information about that particular place. Now question is, how it possible? Because our planet Earth is very big in size and it is very difficult to find out a location of any particular place. So what Google has done, they store a particular number for each and every place, and these numbers are actually latitudes and longitudes. Now students, tell me, what is this? This is globe. Now can you tell me, the word globe came from which word? Yes, the word globe came from the Latin word globus, which means round or sphere. So what is globe? Globe is a true model of our planet, or in other words we can say that globe is a three-dimensional representation of Earth. Now globe is very important for us because it gives us the information about the location of continents and oceans. It helps us to understand the rotation and revolution process. So that's why globe is important. But it has some limitations, such as we can't carry globe from one place to another easily, as because of its shape. Now another point is, it can't give us detailed information about any particular place. So that these are the limitations of globe. Now I think you have noticed that on the surface of globe there are some vertical lines as well as some horizontal lines. What are these? These lines are actually latitudes and longitudes. The concept of latitudes and longitude was introduced by a Greek philosopher named Eratosthenes. So, in this chapter, we will discuss about the latitudes and longitudes and how they are important for us. Before we discuss about the latitudes and longitudes, we need to know some basic things. Number one, axis. What is axis? Axis is an imaginary line on which an object rotates. You can see this globe is spinning as because of these 2 points. If we draw an imaginary line connecting these 2 points, then we will get the axis of this globe. Similarly, if we draw an imaginary line connecting North Pole and South Pole, we will get the axis of our Earth. Now, in this diagram, you can see the axis is not vertical. The axis is tilted. How much? 23.5 degree north. So, actually the axis of our Earth is tilted 23.5 degree north. That's why in globe also you can see it is not vertical like this. It is tilted as because axis of our Earth is tilted. Number 2 is equator. Equator. What is equator? Equator is an imaginary horizontal line which divide the earth into two hemispheres. One is northern and another one is southern hemisphere. You can see in this diagram, this portion is northern hemisphere and this portion is southern hemisphere, and this is equator. So what is equator? Equator is an imaginary horizontal line which divide the earth into two hemispheres, and it is equidistant from North Pole and South Pole. Now, number 3 is prime meridian. What is prime meridian? Prime meridian is an imaginary line which divides the earth vertically into eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. Here you can see this is prime meridian and which divide the earth into two hemispheres. This side is eastern hemisphere and this side is western hemisphere. So what is the basic difference between equator and prime meridian? Equator divides the earth horizontally, whereas prime meridian divides the earth vertically. Apart from equator and prime meridian, there are some more lines drawn on the Earth's surface. These lines are actually latitudes and longitudes. So, now we will discuss about the latitudes. Now, first question is, what are latitudes? Latitudes are imaginary horizontal line which are parallel to the equator and extended from east to west or west to east. So, what are latitudes? Latitudes are imaginary horizontal line which are parallel to the equator and extended from east to west or west to east. Now, you can see in this diagram, I have taken equator as a base, and on that basis, I have drawn all these lines of latitudes. All the latitudes are marked with some numbers. We mark latitude or measure latitude in degree because these are the angular distance from equator. Now you can see this line is marked as 0 degree, then 20 degree, 40 degree, 60 degree and 90 degree. These all numbers are positive numbers and these all lines are in northern hemisphere. Now you can see in southern hemisphere I have marked this latitude as minus 20 degree, minus 40 degree, minus 60 degree and minus 90 degree. So these all negative numbers are in southern hemisphere. So we mark latitude, those are in northern hemisphere as positive number, and those are in southern hemisphere we mark those latitude as negative number. Now there is another way to mark the latitudes. Here you can see I have marked 20 degree north, 40 degree north, 60 degree north and 90 degree north. So these latitudes are in northern hemisphere. That's why I have marked it as 20 degree N. So those latitudes are in northern hemisphere. We can mark it as a north of the equator. Now you can see in other hand this latitude I have marked as 20 degrees south, 40 degrees south, 60 degrees south and 90 degrees south, as because these latitudes are lies in southern hemisphere. Now latitudes are also called parallels. Do you know why? Because by taking equator as a base, all these lines are parallel to the equator. That's why latitudes are also called parallels. In northern hemisphere we have 90 latitudes and in southern hemisphere we have 90 latitudes. This 90 degree latitude is called South Pole and this 90 degree latitude is called North Pole. With the help of latitude, we can point out the location of any place. Suppose I have marked this point. This is almost 22 degree north. Kolkata is located 22 degree north of the equator, and as you can see this is the angular distance between equator and Kolkata. The angle is 22 degree and that's why we measure all the latitudes in degree. Now let's discuss about the features of latitude. Number 1, there are 181 parallels, 90 in northern hemisphere and 90 in southern hemisphere and equator. So you can see here 90 parallel of latitude are in northern hemisphere and 90 parallels of latitude is in southern hemisphere. So 90 plus 90 is equal to 180 and 1 equator. So total number of latitude is 181. Now number 2, each latitudes are full circle and they don't cross each other. All the latitudes are actually full circle and they don't cross each other, as because latitudes are parallel lines, and you know that parallel lines never intersect each other. That's why latitude don't cross each other. Now number 3, latitudes are unequal in length. As you can see in this diagram, length of equator and length of 60-degree latitude is not same as because of the shape of the earth. The length of the equator is maximum and the length of the northern pole is minimum, and equator is the greatest circle among all the latitudes. Now four number 4 is distance between two latitude is 111 kilometer. So distance between 0 degree latitude and 1 degree latitude is 111 kilometers. Number 5, they are horizontal lines. Yes, all the latitudes are horizontal imaginary lines. Now number 6 is 0 degree latitude is referred as equator and 90 degree latitude is referred as pole. As you can see, 90 degree north latitude is north pole and 90 degree south latitude is south pole. Now another important feature is equator divide the earth into two hemispheres. One is northern hemisphere and another one is southern hemisphere. So these are the important features of latitudes. So today we learn about globe, axis of the earth, equator, prime meridian, latitudes and its feature. Let's remind once. What is globe? Globe is three-dimensional representation of our earth, or we can say globe is the miniature version of our earth. Now next is axis. What is axis? Axis is an imaginary line on which an object rotates. Now next is equator. What is equator? Equator is an imaginary horizontal line which extends from east to west. Next is prime meridian. What is prime meridian? Prime meridian is an imaginary vertical line which divides the earth into eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. Next is latitude. What are latitude? Latitudes are imaginary horizontal line which are parallel to the equator and extended from east to west. Now what are the features of latitude? There are 181 parallels of latitudes. The distance between two latitudes is 111 kilometers. 0 degree latitude refers equator, whereas 90 degree latitude refer as pole. Now next is equator divide the earth into two hemispheres, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Latitudes are full circle and they do not cross each other, and latitudes are unequal in length.